Hey everybody, what's up? You're watching The Sit Down on DJ Sixsmith. Joel Kinnaman here with us. Brothers by Blood is a brand new movie. Joel, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
You got it. So why don't we get into this one? It seems really interesting on a number of different levels. You got the whole Philadelphia mob scene situation. So what was it like doing this film?
Yeah, it was a great experience. One of the best creative experiences that I've had in a long time. Working with Jeremy Guez and Matthias Schoenartz, and I mean the rest of the cast. It's a really well cast movie, but two guys just really at the top of their game, and we had a blast shooting it. And as you always do when you can't shoot in Philadelphia but you want something just slightly similar, you go to Antwerp, Belgium. I don't know, Matthias. Yeah, he's got these producers on lockdown. They want to shoot a movie about Philadelphia, but he still gets to do it in his hometown. That's pretty good.
Isn't it amazing how you can fake it enough where you think it's Philadelphia and you're in an entirely different country? I mean, it's one thing to be in New York or something. You're in a different country. So, what was most surprising about doing this movie, in your opinion?
No, I mean, Jeremy Guez is, one of these, true filmmaking artists, sort of an auteur filmmaker, but also that a guy that has seen a lot growing up and understands this kind of world and finds a way to portray it in a nuanced way, in a way that doesn't feel like we've seen it 100 times before, and just and really drills down on the characters and their relationship, and it just really makes it much more of a family drama, and it's the drama between these characters that is at the center of the sort of mob world that it takes place in, that it becomes a backdrop and a dramatic accelerator for the events, but the film really is a really intense family drama.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotional layers here to unpack. So, I like to talk to actors about how a role stretches you, how it really challenges you. What were some of the biggest things you wanted to focus on here with all the different nuances to this character?
Yeah, I mean, it was a scary role to jump in on because I came in with pretty short notice, and first of all, doing a Philly accent was something I hadn't done before, and it's something that's pretty specific. Even though people from Philly talk in very different ways, and you can find people that are from Philly that have lived there their whole lives, that you could place them in a lot of different places in the U.S. It's one of those. But I felt like this guy that I was playing, he's real working class. He had to have more of a he had to have more of a specific sound to him. I was listening a lot to, I don't know if you know this UFC fighter called Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so
That was your guy for the accent here?
I was listening to a lot of his interviews. He goes really deep into it. He has a he's got a pretty thick accent, but I like the sounds that he had. So I was actually listening to a lot of Eddie Alvarez interviews. You know, um, thanks Eddie for that. But then also the kind of guy that Mike is. It was tricky, because he almost has sort of sociopathic tendencies. He's really bordering on a almost psychotic behavior, and so it was tricky. It's one of those things that's like it's a dream role in many ways, but you don't want to get it wrong. So that's it. So it was a good kind of scary, but I pretty quickly figured out that since I've done New York accents a few times, and I have that pretty much in my back pocket. It wasn't too hard to find the Philly accent from there. They're very neighboring accents. So yeah, and then Matthias is an amazing actor, and a absolute lunatic. So we had a lot of fun. We really neither of us are sort of method where we demand of the environment to behave in a special way, like everyone on set has to look at it. I don't really like that thing. I think that you should have your own process, and there's a lot of people that go to work, And but you know, we really had we were having fun with it the whole time. We were playing these characters pretty much on and off set, and yeah, it got a little wild at times.
Well, also with Philadelphia people, you'll be hearing from them if you don't get that accent right. They're like Boston folks, man. If you get that wrong, they're gonna be on you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Bring it on.
Well, I think the cool thing about your career is that you've played these really interesting characters. I mean, House of Cards, reflecting on that now, a couple years later, you know, what stands out to you the most, especially like the nature of our politics the last 4 years? Like, there's a little foreshadowing of your character with what's happened the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was a very well written show, very, you know, very thoughtful and precise in its you know, in its portrayal and, you know, somewhat predictions of where things were going. Yeah, it was crazy, you know, being on that show. I mean, I think it was right when Trump was running, when he started to run. So it really felt like the worlds were colliding, but it was also strange being on that show and feeling like what was going on in the real world was way crazier.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts to think about.
Yeah.
When you think about your career,
Spacey said, "Hold my beer," you know.
Yeah, it's always interesting when a show does that, and then you go to real life and you're like, oh, okay, so this is what's happening right now.
Yeah.
When you think about your career, I mean, you're somebody that was acting as a kid and you've come to this country and made a name for yourself. What's most important when you get into a show or a movie, and, you know, really how you use your art? What is most important to you?
Well, I mean, it's you know, keep finding the right challenges and always feel like you're growing. That you know, I think with basically with anything in life, but even more in arts, you have to be in this growing process that you know you end up in by giving yourself the right kind of challenges. And as soon as you get a little complacent and comfortable, and as soon as you start getting a little success and making more money, you get a little nicer, comfortable house, and you know all these things that you were dreaming of that, you know, I didn't even dare to dream of when I was a kid. But sort of when they start coming to you in a way, then it becomes even more important that you're sort of true to your art and your the sort of inner pursuit that you have that's kind of underlying everything else that is, you know, the material goals that you hope for. And to always like keeping yourself uncomfortable, and I think you do that by giving yourself the right kind of challenges all the time, and just, you know, staying like 10% outside of your comfort zone all the time, and I think then it keeps it fresh. You're hungry, you're a little scared when you come to work. You have to have that fear with you all the time, I think.
I think that's good advice for life and for acting. And Joel, I really appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
Congrats
man,
on this movie, and best luck moving forward, all right?
Thanks, man.